You are listening to the I Wish I Knew Stuff podcast with Mark and Nalo. They test things like news, culture, and other dumb stuff that they just wish they knew about. Subscribe to the channel and thanks for listening.
Midlife crisis.
You should
now, as
be.
we talk about it.
You
Do you like
are
this?
like a prime specimen to not sleep
Yeah.
at all, though, because
Why?
you're young.
I have a very fast metabolism.
Yeah.
I can poop really fast.
What?
It goes through me like you would not believe.
I believe it. But you should be able to stay up to like 5,
You know how many
6 in
times
the
I've
morning.
dumped today?
4.
That was a really good guess. 3.
That's impressive.
Normally it's 4 by now.
All right, hang tight for a second here, okay? Yeah.
I want to know who this Nate is. What is he picking up?
He's picking up stuff that goes to M Motors.
He's an NPC.
Yeah. I mean, he's
Non-playable
every one of my
character.
friends has seen him in different environments. He works at Bones Arcade. He works for Sweetheart Bakery.
Are you guys just making a person up?
No,
That's the thing. It's weird.
because he works everywhere. Everybody knows him. Like my buddy Joe came up to me and he was like, "Man, I was at the gym the other day, and this guy just came up to me. He's like, 'Yeah, man, keep lifting.'" And I was like, "I bet you $5 I know who that was." And Joe's like, "Why would you know who that was?" And so I pulled him up on Facebook and I showed Joe, and he's like, "Yeah, that was the guy." And I was like, "I knew it."
What is his name?
His name.
And why does he? What?
He just appears everybody knows him somehow.
I don't know.
Here, I'm gonna pull up a picture.
You pull up a picture.
Yeah, and then you'd be like, "Oh my God, that's my baby daddy."
That's what I say every time he gives me a picture.
I'm running up on that 4G data, boys. I ain't gonna join no pooper scooper.
Yeah, you don't need to join.
I'm friggin'
We,
hungry.
we don't want you.
Freaking hungry.
Why didn't you get any food?
Because I
This
ate.
is my boy.
Who that?
Mark's like, I feel like I know him. I want to know him.
I want to know.
I mean,
He's
I feel
my-
like I've
he's my
seen him
boy.
before, but he looks like a total tool.
He 100% is. When I worked at Hardee's, that's where I originally met him. He came in every day and ordered a double cheeseburger with no cheese and extra onions. And
And he works for O'Reilly's?
yeah, and Sweetheart Bakery and Bones Arcade and everything else. And my brother used to weightlift with him, and so like I knew him that way.
Yeah.
Like my brother recognized him when I was talking about this as a joke, and he's like, "Oh man, I used to like lift weights. I wanted to be an MMA fighter or whatever.
Yeah.
WWE.
WWE wrestler.
Yeah. Hey, my phone's like hella dead, so
It's 58%.
that's 58 closer to dead.
It's
42%.
42% closer to death.
So if you say your phone is hella dead at 58%, like what is it
I'm
when
ju-
it's
this
down
dude-
to 10%?
I mean, if you were 58 years old, you'd be hella dead.
This dude likes fishing.
Dude, every day he uploads pictures. He got shot when he was a kid.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was playing at the playground in Laurel, and like somebody shot a gun in the air like from 4 blocks away, and it just whacked him right in the chest, and he went to the hospital and everything. Dope. Give me my phone back.
No, I'm looking at pictures of him.
So he got shot in the chest by somebody that didn't even mean to shoot him?
Yeah,
Just
just like
the bullet came
NPC
from-
backstory. Like,
It
I
is.
used to be an adventurer like you
Until I
until I
took
took
an
a
arrow.
bullet in the chest when I was 8 years old.
You're right. It is. It's totally an NPC backstory. It's like believable. Like, oh yeah, I always thought that could happen.
I mean, I don't know this guy. He does
Give me
not.
my- give
He
me
does
my-
not. No.
My piece.
Give me my piece.
All right, let me get started here.
Do it.
I hate you so much. I'm gonna turn you down permanently.
Please.
Welcome to the I Wish I Knew Stuff podcast with Mark and Nalo. This is Nalo,
Hi.
and that's Mark. And we have a guest today, special guest, Nathan Farnes. And
Yes.
he reluctantly came on the podcast. I made him come, and he brought a gun. So that's how that worked out. So that was pretty neat. Say something, if you will.
Yes.
Nice.
He's a very special guest.
Yeah, he's he's extra special. We don't really know what we're going to talk about tonight. I think we're going to talk a little bit maybe
we ever?
about some androids and some AI and what would happen if they took over the world and things like that. So, what do you think? What do you think about that?
Who are you asking?
Anybody?
Oh.
You. I'm only talking to 2 people.
Gotcha.
I just
What do I
welcomed
think about it?
Phil because no
I think
one
it's
else
overrated.
listens. What's overrated?
The whole concept. Like everybody always talks about, like world domination by robots and stuff, but it's completely impractical.
Yeah, you don't think it's going to be like a Terminator style thing where eventually robots or androids or whatever you want to call them at that point to get so intelligent that they just start killing humans and take over the world?
No.
Okay.
They had to be programmed to do that, like they'd have to have programmed sentience.
Well, what about the Sophie chick, android?
She already said she wants to kill humans.
I know. She spent like a half hour on the internet, and she's a Nazi. Yeah, like they programmed her to basically soak up knowledge from the internet and YouTube and Google and things like that, and it like an algorithm basically developed her personality, and within like 2 hours she was a Nazi.
I mean, if I spent 2 hours digging through the internet, I think I'd probably be a Nazi too.
Probably. I mean, did they open up like the dark parts of the internet to her, or what? Or did they just?
She just went to Reddit.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Instant Nazi.
Instant Nazi because she's on Reddit. That's
true.
I don't know. I think the world domination of androids is a really cool concept to think about because
Nate wants to be told what to do by a robot.
I just want to run from a robot and like have to shoot at big metal figures that run
But like,
at me.
if it became a crisis that had to be averted,
Yeah.
We talked about this earlier. Wouldn't the government just drop like an EMP
Oh yeah.
and just shut 'em all
Trust the
down?
government to take care of it for you.
Unless the government's already robots.
They already are.
I mean, if you're building a robot or they're intelligent enough to try to form an army to take over the humans, you think that they would have designed some sort of shield to protect them from EMPs or something like that?
Or but even if they did that, like if that was part of the plan, you'd think they'd have a backup plan. Like anybody has watched the Terminator, they're like, if this goes wrong, we need to have the ultimate answer.
Like
the
a big
final
red
solution.
button that shuts them all down, like in Star Wars when they're fighting all the
Yeah,
little
yeah,
droid
they
army
die.
and they kill the mothership and they're all like, and
Yeah,
they
they just
fall
gotta
over
die
dead.
Phantom Menace style.
But if the robots
Yeah.
are learning, would they just not do some kind of programming to
kinda
prevent
like
that from happening?
Like the clones in Star Wars when they pull the thing out of their head that makes them execute Order 66.
They almost got that, man. That was like one of the saddest parts of that whole series that they didn't get that.
I know, and watching it the whole time you knew it, you were like, they can't do it because
I mean, I already
all
know
them
they
dudes died.
execute Order 66.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
Them poor Jedis. There's so many sides to this. I don't know. There's been plenty of movies that have come out about android takeovers.
Do you think it would start subtly? Do you think like people would like start having microwave ovens that talk to them and stuff, kind of like we got today, and then like next thing you know, the government was like, bam, war machines? Or do you think they would start with the war machines? Like,
I think it starts with sex robots. I think that they're going to be the first ones going against the humans.
But
so many
But they need the
injustices.
humans to do them.
what's the
So many injustices have already happened to them. So.
what's the quality control on producing sex robots?
I don't think there is one.
What happens
Oh,
if
there
somebody
is.
dies?
There's got to be. I mean, there's quality control for all kinds of sex toy things, I'm sure.
How would you know?
He's been to Adam.
You
and
don't
Eve.
know. You don't know.
You don't know the things I've seen.
I mean, it's only logical for them to do that. They don't. Yeah, it's hard to not go there, but I mean, they don't have animal testing.
How do you know?
That would be pretty messed up. They probably just.
They like bait the robot with like hormones that like attract male specimens.
Male humans or robots?
No, animals.
Oh, okay.
How would they?
Oh,
yeah.
that kind of testing.
They,
Yeah,
like, get some deer urine and rub it all over that.
I'm thinking they just have
what
like
happens.
Put the robot out there.
they have like a company meeting and they give everybody a black box with things in it and they say, "See you later."
How would you feel going home to your family every night?
I
and
wouldn't
know
work
that
for
you
a
work
place
for a
like
sex robot company?
I just wouldn't work for a place
Those
like
people
that.
probably don't have families.
Imagine explaining to your 4-year-old son that you build sex toys for a living.
They probably.
Like most of that stuff is done in like sweatshops in the Philippines.
The only
like,
family they have is their mom's basement that they live in. They don't have
Yeah.
families. They live in their parents' basement.
I don't know. I mean, if it paid like
Oh, you do that too, don't you?
more than $5 an hour, I'd probably do it.
More than $5 an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. I mean, I don't think I'm too far off by thinking that they probably do have quality control that's like legitimate human people that are willing to just, oh yeah, sure, I'll go try that out.
Oh, so each one's tested. It's like a Glock. How when you buy a Glock in
Yeah.
the case, they have the bullet shell that was the test fired around. They're like, this one's been tested. Would that make you concerned?
What would be there with it to let you know it's been tested?
A little sample.
That's
We've gone way off track
that's
already.
so disgusting too. Like it's just, I would hope not. But
Well,
at
you
the
got
same time,
AIDS.
if I'm at the point in my life to where I'm like
It's like
purchasing a brand new sex robot,
you buy the thing.
I don't
Like,
think
how
I'm
do
gonna
you
care.
know that somebody else hasn't already been in that?
Right now, they make like porcelain mannequins that sell for like $8,000. How much do you think a robot would sell for?
I mean, priceless.
$9,000.
Priceless to have that companionship.
you think it'd be like the movies and they'd all look the same, or do you think it'd be like super customizable?
Oh, it'll be just like, when you're playing a video game and you can customize the eyebrows and
You can like
the
get a
eye
robot
color and
shipped to your front door with an M4.
I'm sure.
What about the dude that was in a relationship with his car? You remember that?
Yeah.
That guy was.
Yeah, he's well on his way into that lifestyle,
I
isn't
wonder
he?
what he's up. He probably has a robot now.
He probably does.
There needs to be like a series like where they're at now.
Does he
you know?
break up with other cars and start dating?
Show me a person who doesn't date their car, and I'll show you a person who will poorly transition into a robot apocalypse.
Oh.
Wait,
You got to be.
We're not
submissive.
talking about that kind of relationship
it was a sexual
Yeah.
relationship. This car.
with his car
I mean, he was like,
to his vehicle.
Yeah.
And he would do things to it.
"Are you married to your vehicle?"
That's
No.
legal as long
Then
as you're
You will
married.
suck if robots start to take over. If you don't have respect for the machine gods.
Sorry, did I mess up the hearing thing?
No, I think we're good. There was
Okay.
like a minute there where
I mean,
it sounded like the end times. but
respecting the machines and having intercourse with them is a little different. I
think
say.
that's definitely. I think the line that you cross is mental illness. That's probably the line.
Oh, you don't have sex with robots? Well, you're not going to do very well in the apocalypse.
Maybe I don't know about the whole like that may not be mental. I think it's the
It
whole
is.
like being married to a car is definitely mental.
I feel like this is the sort of conversation I should be having in my friend's garage with like one little lamp and, a small fire burning in the corner. But
In the garage?
yeah,
Okay.
the sort of conversation where I
Does the
wouldn't want my
lamp
parents
swing
to
back
hear
and
it.
forth so the shadows move? That just
No, we
That's what
used
I'm
to stick
picturing.
a broomstick in a table saw like through the handle, and then had one of them clamp-on lights, that you use for working on cars.
yeah.
And we'd hang it like perfectly over the table, so that when you're playing cards, you get that that poker vibe. You smoking pipe, and there's like a big old cloud around you,
Yeah. So
ready
you
to like pull
you
out
get
your
the whole
pocket
vibe.
pistol and shoot the guy across the table from you that you went to second grade with.
Because he had an ace up his sleeve, and you're just like, you
Hey, you can't trick me.
tricked me. You stole all my money. Give me it back.
There was this movie on Netflix that I watched.
Yeah.
I was like half asleep through the whole thing. I kind of worked that way through my whole life. But the movie, basically the summary was these dudes were living in the earth, right?
In the earth.
On the earth.
Oh, okay.
And all of a sudden, like, all these aliens showed up, right? But,
Yeah.
like, halfway through the movie, he punches one of the aliens in the face, and it breaks his mask open. And it was just a normal dude, right?
Oh,
And so
okay.
he's like, why would humans be coming from space and killing us? But it turns out that the normal people were AI, and they had their memories washed to forget about kicking all the humans off the earth, and the humans all got kicked to Mars.
Okay.
And
And they
so
were coming
then-
to retake the earth.
Yeah, and they were trying to retake the earth from the robot people.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty cool movie. Really bad effects, but
Cool concept.
yeah. So I don't even remember what it was called.
I feel like I remember seeing previews for something like that.
It was like on the front page of Netflix for like a couple weeks, and that's kind of why we watched it. Is we're like,
Is it Extinction?
it might be. I think so. But yeah, so like,
Is the main character like a Mexican dude?
yeah, it's a dude from Ant-Man.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and he thinks he's like going insane because he goes on these vision quests while he's like at work,
Okay.
and he sees like the invasion happening, but he's really seeing the attack from when they were throwing over all the humans.
Yeah.
And it's like PTSD, that's still coming back even though he had his memory wiped.
That's funny.
And none of the robot people remembered
Yeah.
the humans. And so
Huh.
when they came back, they were like, what are these aliens? And then when they kicked off the masks, they were like, oh my God.
They're humans like us.
They're humans
And
like
then-
us. And then they found out by getting wounded that they were robots.
So you're telling me this entire time, though, somebody didn't get hit by a car.
Well, it transitions properly into my past story. Like,
Yeah.
playing poker with your friend, pull out a gun and shoot him. What
Yeah.
if he's a robot? Then would you have the urge to shoot yourself to see if you were a robot?
Yeah, I think I would. If I came to work tomorrow and then I looked, I just, I was like, man, I am feeling really tired, and I yawned, and you saw like in my mouth like a weird alien tentacle thing.
Like fiber optic, LED lights coming out of your throat or something.
Yeah, and
I'd kill you.
at that point you realized that I was an android. Would you be surprised?
Would I be surprised?
Yeah.
No. The only
You'd be
person
dead,
whose
though.
consciousness I can prove exists is my own.
True. We've talked about this too, but that same goes for me. Like I could be my own consciousness is the only thing that exists. That's the only thing I can prove, right?
You can't prove anything to me
No, but I can prove it to myself.
if you have a self.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Buckle up, folks.
You're the angel on my shoulder that's trying to bring reason to me, and I'm just like, no, he's not real. You have no self.
So at some point, because I've only got so much programming, I'm gonna start repeating myself, or you're gonna see different versions of me in different places.
Well, it depends on what you mean by programming. Is this are we talking about like if you're a robot, or is this a simulation?
I guess the idea that I had in my head was a simulation.
So like if I'm in a computer, but the whole thing revolves around me,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if the computer could process all of Billings at once,
Yeah.
I don't think it'd have any problem giving you,
Like this
randomly
whole
generated script.
this whole thing about the Hurricane Florence coming into the East Coast, and we're way up here in Montana, and we don't see it, we don't experience it, we have no physical way to know that that's 100% true, that it's really happening. It's just a made-up thing on,
Well,
news to kind of keep you distracted from knowing that you're in a simulation.
It's kind of like, the Truman Show. Like, watching that movie really messed with me because I was like 13 and already questioning my reality, I was kind of like wondering if
Is
there's
this
a
real
God,
life? Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm introduced to this idea where everyone around me could just be acting. And then you always have that, like, part of you.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just me, but, like, I was like, what if I just got up in the middle of class and just smacked my teacher? Like, if the world revolved around me, who would stop me? Like, would they actually do anything to punish me? Or that'd be the surefire way to find out. Like,
Yeah, maybe a bunch of people have.
like, yeah, like people who go shoot up their schools or whatever, they're just like trying to test the system, but really they're just crazy. And
Yeah.
then I've actually had that thought. I didn't want to be the person who everyone thought was crazy because I just got up and screamed some obscenity in the middle of class because I was like, I
Yeah.
want to test and see if they're real.
Sure.
I do think
That's exactly what a robot would say.
Yeah, but I mean, part of it would have to be like the reaction that they expected you to have. So like you would definitely get in some sort of trouble because they would already know, like, if you do something bad, consequences happen. But what you're saying is like there wouldn't be the right kind of consequence or something. Or?
Well, no, like if it was the Truman Show.
Yeah.
So say they're real people. Like when I
Right.
went to Germany, I was like thinking to myself, this is like my whole life has taken place in like Montana.
Yeah.
So like everything outside that region never affected me. And so when I was going to Germany, I was like, dang, I'm gonna see a new place. And I was like, but what if it's just a stage and the airplane is actually just fake and they're changing everything up? And that's why it takes 16 hours for me to get to Germany.
Yeah.
What if they're all actors? But if they were all actors, I mean, they wouldn't stop you. You could just start smacking. Like in the Truman Show, he goes crazy and starts driving around in circles, and like
Yeah.
nobody can actually do anything to stop him. They're not gonna shoot him. He's their star.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just watching to see what happens next.
Yeah. What I want to know though is, did they have a camera in his bathroom? I mean, they had one in the mirror, but like, how private was his private life? You know what I
I
mean?
don't know.
How private were
like
his
they
privates?
saw his bowel movements and everything.
Well, no, like,
Like everyone.
did they have a camera facing him while he was on the toilet?
like everyone knew what Truman's poop face was like.
Yeah, yeah, and
Probably.
other faces.
His O face. Is that what you're trying to say?
His what?
O face.
His O face.
His O face.
You think
I
he's too
am-
young for that one?
I'm new to
Yeah.
this term.
You're not too young for that. But
Are you saying like
yeah.
when he's trying to pipe? Oh, you're too old for that one.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Yeah, I am too old for that. I don't know. I don't know how private his life would have been. I mean, that's maybe kind of a loophole in the system or something.
You ever like drive in your car and you're like by yourself and you like start talking in case anyone's listening?
I like scream a lot in my car. I scream like at the top of my lungs, and usually I'm sending a recorded message to Brett. But
But like I'm saying, like under the guise, nice pearl snaps by the way.
yeah, you like this thing?
I
This
do.
1970s shirt from the 70s. Like I got it at a vintage store.
I have one like that from my grandpa, and he gave it to me, and I went to Cabela's, and it was like a $250 Carhartt shirt, and I was like, my grandpa's going crazy.
Yeah, I do like my old vintage shirts. But
But anyway,
anyway,
what was I talking about?
no, I don't know.
Oh, anyway, are you ever like driving and you're like, I wonder if there's a camera in my dash and everybody's watching me right now and I'm on a TV show? And so you just like start talking to them like you're like, I know you're listening.
Yeah.
I know you're there. And
No.
like if nobody's there, you're not embarrassed. And if somebody's there, you're right.
If they're there though, you don't
Yeah,
know that. So are you really embarrassed?
No, he didn't say he was embarrassed if there was somebody there. Oh,
I
wait.
would be not embarrassed either way
Oh.
because I'm a normal human being.
Are you though?
No.
Okay. How do we know you're not a robot?
Well, in your reality, he is. He's just a
Maybe in his reality he hasn't learned that he is one yet though.
yeah. He's like the.
How
he's
deep?
Like, I don't know.
How deep do you think our realities get?
What do you mean? Like how deep do the realities?
Like, do
get?
you ever think to yourself that maybe my life just ends as soon as I drive down the street? Like, I'm not rendered in anymore and everything else is just,
Oh,
generically generated story on Monday,
so back in
Yes.
when I was in high school, similar to this, my friends were always trying to convince me that the only things that actually existed are what you can see at that time,
Yeah.
and nothing else existed. So like stuff that is behind me actually isn't there.
That's like one of those things
Until
where,
you
like,
turn, then it just generates like as you're moving about your day.
it's one of the things that's like that movie where, like, there's something behind
That's
you.
weird
So like
You
your
can never
wife,
see it.
your wife and kids don't actually exist right now
because we can't see
them.
him.
Yeah.
But I can see what's behind your head though. So how do you
So
how
it's
do you
real
explain
in
something
your
like that?
world though. I don't know.
But if Mark is the only human, and he sees you. What you see behind him doesn't matter. You don't actually see anything.
I
Yeah.
don't see anything.
Yeah, you're just a figment of his generation.
You're right.
Generation, not like
Yeah.
Yeah.
A generated image.
Yep.
CGI for him.
Yep.
yeah. It's like last Thursdayism, that sort of thing. It's like it's infalsifiable. You can't just explain it away. I mean, you could be like, well, when I look in the mirror, I can see behind me, but like
That's just
the
be-
mirror is just a
mirror's
projection.
generation.
You know, it's just
You're literally only seeing the mirror.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like, but that also could be like, you know, that's kind of the if a tree falls in the woods, no one's around to hear it. Does it make a sound? You know,
No.
like if eyesight and vision is the perception of light going into your eyeballs, right? If nobody sees it, is it there?
I would say no, because you can't actually see light. You just see the reflection of light.
Yeah, sure. You see the bouncing off of the light goes into your retinas and it's processed and everything. But like obviously nothing you see looks the way it does. It's just our perception. I mean,
So are you saying like green could be green for me, but green is like my blue for you, or something like that?
that's a whole nother topic.
Okay.
I'm just saying like whatever.
I've thought about that.
If Mark's naked and in the bathroom by himself and
Always.
he can't see the shower head behind him spraying on his hair, is there a shower head to be perceived? Like, could he see it?
Why you gotta be talking about me naked?
Why
Yeah,
would you be in the
why-
shower in clothes?
Why you gotta do that?
Why not? Doing laundry
But you
and
can
cleaning
feel
myself
you
at
can
the
feel
same
the
time.
water coming off. You can feel the water coming.
How do
out
I
of
know it's just not like a haptic feedback?
Like you're just wearing a suit too? Like
I don't know. Am I? I don't
He's in
know.
the Matrix, and they're just
Yeah.
like, they like got like one of those little like wind chime things, like not the chime, but like what cheerleaders have, and they're just dribbling it on the back of his head, you know, shaking it over
like a
his
little
head.
pom pom, and he's just like, this
Yeah.
shower feels
How do I
nice.
know that I'm not, in the Matrix?
Punch yourself in the face right now.
Okay. What?
I don't know. I just wanted to see you punch yourself. I don't know what that proves yet. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Just because I can feel the water behind me, I can't see it, doesn't mean that, maybe it's just some haptic feedback.
Some haptic feedback on the back of your head.
Yep. My head's in a suit.
The Matrix always made me think too, actually a little bit, especially when they talked about deja vu being a glitch in the Matrix, and I would have deja vu all the time, and I'm like,
You're like,
hey,
oh, crap.
You know what
they
I
need
think
to get
deja
me
vu
out
is?
of this Matrix because I'm sick of this deja vu.
You know what I think deja vu is?
What?
I think it's
You just said that twice, and I had deja vu.
welcome to the joke.
Oof.
I think deja vu is so we're in a simulation. We're gonna start there, right?
Okay, in a simulation, that's the concept.
Now,
we have.
obviously, with any good simulation, you run it like 100 million times, right, to see what's going on.
Okay.
I still think the only reason why we would be in a simulation is if there is life forms like us trying to learn about.
Like an experiment is really the only reason for one to
Yeah.
exist.
It wouldn't just be because. And so they'd run it multiple times. And even with your phones and stuff now, when you delete something, it never really is fully gone. The information is always still there.
Yeah.
And on like a smaller level, like a whatever you'd call it level, a technological level, there's always remnants of things from previous programs on
Yeah.
your phone and on your computer and everything else. And so maybe deja vu is just like when the simulation reaches a certain point and the same event is happening, there's a remnant of in the computer that is you, and you're just recognizing that you've done this before, but you're only so self-aware that you can't ever make sense of it, like you don't realize that you're in a computer, so you don't understand why you feel like
Yeah.
this is happening again.
So in the Matrix, when they see the cat twice, the cat runs across, and then he looks away and looks back, and he sees the cat do exactly the same thing. So basically, what you're saying is during a simulation like that, the previous simulation that didn't work out, and now they're in the next experiment, got completely deleted, but not really all the way deleted. The small remnant of it left was something similar to what just happened. And so he just saw,
in a previous run of the same simulation or something,
where you just happen to end up in the same spot.
Yeah,
doing the
you
same
just
thing
happen to
again.
be doing the same thing, and for whatever, you'd always be doing the same thing, but for whatever reason, that part of the same thing is reminiscent to you of something, and you can't make sense of it.
Yeah. I've had deja vu that lasted for like 5 minutes, like an entire conversation where I'm like, I've seriously had this conversation before. I've been in this room with these people, and I've done this before.
Yeah, there's been a few times. My buddy Sam, we were down at the river, walking along the bank, and there was other people there too, but that's irrelevant. He just looks at me, he goes, I'm having some serious deja vu right now. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I've been here before with you guys. And I'm like, no, you ain't.
No, you haven't. Like I have not been.
The
here
river's
with
been full of water. This is where the river dried up.
it. Yeah,
I was like, the river's been full of water for the past, 200 years.
sure.
You ain't never been here before.
This is the first time anybody's been here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's having deja vu in that moment.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Yeah. That is a weird time to do it, especially when it's something that literally no one
has never, like,
Yeah.
it'd be like if I was in Germany, and this is the first time or one only time I've ever been to Germany, and I'm, like, walking down the street, and some guy asks me if I want to smoke weed with him in an alley, and I'm like, I feel like I've been here before.
Maybe
Yeah.
you were in a previous simulation.
That's what he's trying to say.
See, and, like, that brings me to another thing, right? So, like, my grandma thinks that she was Nefertiti in a past life, right?
She was what?
You know, like
Nefertiti?
reincarnation crap. I'm kidding. That's not real. My grandma doesn't think that. But like there's people who do, you know, and they're like, I used to be Prince Charles, and well, he's still alive. That doesn't work.
There was probably a different Prince Charles.
Maybe. But there's these
They
people
were a
when
cricket.
they think that there were things in last lives. But then they on the same coin, like people who believe in spirituality and things like that seem to refuse to even consider the idea that we live in a simulation. In your mind, what would the ramification be if we did live in a simulation to creationism? Because obviously we're still created, right?
Yeah.
So would that really affect religion in any way?
I think that it would only affect like certain parts of it, especially the whole like having free will or having, you know, a God that's loving by any means.
I mean, we would still have free will. The whole point of a simulation is for free will to occur, you know, like for random things to happen. Nobody would program a simulation to do the same thing every time. That'd be like making a cutscene for a video game.
Okay, so what you're saying is that it's programmed to just do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, and
Like, and
God
it could end up any kind of way, one direction or another.
Yeah, God or the programmer or whoever would just set up a specific set of rules that the simulation were to abide by, and then from there, let it go.
I mean, besides that, you're describing like something that is specifically in technology through our own, you know, things that we can imagine with our brains. I guess, yeah, the people that believe in God and creation and humanity being created by God is literally the description of a simulation. Like God created everything, and I mean that's exactly what a
Yeah, so, like,
simulation is.
You know, my dad's a pastor.
Yeah.
I've had this conversation with him multiple times. Like, what would the difference be? And he's like, well, if we were in a computer, then our life would actually be meaningless. And I'm like, our life is pretty meaningless anyway. I mean, if you believe in God or not, your life is going to have I mean, what was your great-great-grandfather's name?
I don't know.
Yeah. What was your great-great-grandfather's name?
Oh,
You
what
don't
was
know.
yours?
How do you even know he existed?
Don't.
You're just here. And when you die, and your kids have kids, and their kids have kids, and their kids have kids, they're going to be like, I don't know who my grandfather was, or great-great-grandfather was. Unless, like, your great-great-grandfather was, like, John F. Kennedy, and, you know.
Oh yeah, that's who it was.
Oh, or
So-
your great-grandfather was probably the second gunman.
That's probably way more true.
Look at Mark. He looks like Lee Harvey Oswald. Lee Harvey Oswald's chubby double.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just an NPC based on his original character.
He's going to assassinate a president. Oh, no.
Wow.
We're on a watch list now.
Yep. Way to go.
No, we've been on a watch list with this podcast. We talked about faking our own death for 2 hours. So
For 2 hours?
Yeah.
You talked about it for 2 hours, or you talked about doing it for 2 hours? Like,
No. We talked about different ways to fake our death for 2 hours, and then
you know how I'd fake my death? Completely, you know, unrelated to what we're talking about.
Sure.
I'd just run away. I'd become like Ernesto, and I'd live in the beaches of California.
You
I'd
look
surf.
like an Ernesto.
Do I?
yeah, you could be Ernesto.
I'd have to like shave everything, but have like the Italian goatee. Ernesto's not really an Italian name, but I could make it work.
Can you wear a gold chain, please? That
Do
would
you
be
have
helpful.
one I can wear?
No, I mean like when you become Ernesto.
So
Like shirtless, gold chain,
Here's-
tie-dye shorts.
It's like silk shirt.
Oh,
Ernesto.
silk shirt.
with
Oh, no.
jewelry,
Get the
Would-
Rolex on, you know.
with
Would
hamburger
jewelry-
meat. You
yeah.
got any
Look like
hamburger
I'm
meat?
important, but
Yeah.
really I go home and cry myself to sleep every night because I'm not.
Question.
Yeah.
Why are you, as some software, programmed into this guy's simulation faking your own death?
Yeah.
Because the simulation has surpassed its original parameters, right? Like,
So you were just originally programmed to fake your own death, though.
yeah, this is what every moment of the simulation has led to.
But you're not actually dying. You're just faking it.
This kind of goes against your whole like free will thing you were just talking about though. So like if there are things that are set and intended to distract us or pull us in a certain direction, then I mean that's not really a simulation designed with free will.
Okay.
That's
You
like
see that door right there?
Yeah.
I want you to walk through it.
I mean, I'd have to open it first.
Exactly. That's a rule you have to obey. You don't have free
Okay.
will. You can't walk through walls.
You want to friggin' watch me walk through that door?
I mean, I guess it is glass. You probably could if you really believed in yourself.
Okay, I see what
Maybe
you mean.
not walk through, back or
There's
run through
like a parameter of existence. You know, there's
You can't
faces
fly.
and surfaces.
I can't
things
fly.
You just,
So there's like some rules that I have to
won't
follow.
bet.
I mean, you can fly, but
Temporarily.
to take one from Buzz Lightyear, it's more like falling in style.
Yeah, that's true.
Temporarily flying.
Yeah.
Down.
But if that's the case, then we're in a simulation. Is the Earth a globe or is it flat?
Yeah, it
flat.
could be anything we want.
Are all the other planets flat? Or are the other planets even exist?
If we're in your simulation, whatever you think,
My simulation.
yeah, whatever you think is going to work. So if you think the world is round, it's going to be round. If you think the world is flat, it's going to be flat because everything else around you is going to be generated and made to the liking of whatever pleases you.
Think of like Halo, right?
Yeah.
Opening scene, you see this big old ring with all this terrain on it all the way around, right?
That's flat and round.
Yeah, but it's flat and round, right? But you land on it, and you only ever experience flat Halo. Now, obviously, the people who developed the game didn't develop a rounded Halo, but you perceive it to be round because that's what the game wants you to think.
Yeah.
But likewise, in our reality, maybe we perceive the Earth to be round because that's what makes the most sense, but really it's just a flat plane with set rules that we have to obey.
I mean,
And in which case, the Earth is then flat.
okay.
We've transcended into a new argument.
We have. And there's so much that goes into that, too. Like, that's a completely different episode that I would love to talk about Flat Earth because it's so ridiculous.
Freaking Glenn.
Yeah. I just don't want to dive into that in this episode. I mean, we could. I really don't care.
But we're not talking about the real Earth is flat. We're talking about simulation Earth.
Simulation Earth.
Yeah, so it's relevant.
100% flat then.
Yeah, like it's all
Because-
just. Well, I mean, it doesn't.
Because it doesn't
exist.
actually exist.
Yeah.
That's exactly
So
right.
it's not even
It's
flat.
literally anything. It's nothing.
It's just a
It's a bunch of hard
it's just a
drives.
construct.
and some guy's counter.
Yeah, because whatever we can't see doesn't exist, right, Mark?
Exactly. So the guy that's running the simulation, describe him.
He's very beardsome. That's for my first guess. I think he would have a moderate nose, definitely blue eyes.
You're just describing him.
What? I
I'm-
mean, can you think of any reasons why anybody would actually set up a simulation to
Is it even a human?
like what
So-
would be the entire purpose? Obviously for some sort of experiment or information, but why are they doing it in the first place?
Well, it was like a while back. I was gonna write that book.
You should still do it.
I probably will. I don't want to get into too many details because I don't want to
you don't want
spoil
people
it.
stealing your idea.
Yeah,
Trust
I don't
me,
want
Phil
somebody to
doesn't
like come
care.
out with it and be like the next, who was the author of Harry Potter.
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, and I don't want somebody to be the next her because of me, But the concept of the simulation in my story was that people were running out of ways. There's like a big war going on, right? And obviously
Okay.
necessity is the mother of invention.
Right.
And so somebody made this big old computer, and they wanted it to simulate a reality similar to theirs, like with the same laws and elements and everything, so that anything discovered in that reality could be applied to the real world.
Right.
But they ran this simulation and to see if like the simulants would develop any technologies that we hadn't perhaps thought of or come up with, or the initial cause of a simulation is like for humor. Like today, all your simulation games are like totally accurate
Like-
battle simulator where you put 5,000 orcs from Lord of the Rings against 2,000 skunks and you see who wins. Like
I was gonna say that
Like-
if I was in a simulation, I'd want to be in that one.
Yeah.
would you be the orc or the skunk
I'd be me versus like whatever.
versus 10,000 stormtroopers?
Yeah, there's one where it's like Chuck Norris versus a million penguins or something like that.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
That's what I'd be. a
Or
part
like
of.
Beam and G Drive where you just like build cars to crash them and see what happens.
Yeah, like the initial reason for a simulation is like to get a kick out of it. I think the next stage would be like historical experimentation. Like, what if Hitler won World War II? And so you set up a program where Hitler won World War II, all the same amount of people on the planet, minus 6 million. And
Jeez.
then you go from there and see what would have happened,
Right.
or what if
But how can you trust?
America was never discovered?
What if we don't know that because it was?
I mean, you would have to have a pretty complicated simulation
What
to
if you could do
understand and properly replicate people's behavior.
It just seems so weird. Like, does it have to run real time, or can you?
No, it's a simulation. It's like when you play Sims and you go into the 3x mode and it's like, and everybody like flies around and lights their babies on fire and stuff.
So what if you started a simulation that was almost exactly like life is right now? You tried to replicate.
And see what your future is.
Yeah, like that. Then that was your agenda, is you want to find out what the future holds for this person or that person.
Society as a whole.
If you made this one choice, or
That'd be pretty cool.
If I'm gonna do this, I need to find out what's going on. So
That's a cool concept for a book. Is like the government's like, how do we avert a crisis? And so they run 10 million simulations in 14 minutes on how to get a meteor to get out of the atmosphere or something.
Well, it sounds a lot to me like Total Recall, where
I actually never watched that.
well, the basic concept of the movie is that they've developed technology enough to where they can through your DNA, they can look to see what your future is going to be. So everyone is tested, and then if you're a criminal, then you're arrested for crimes you haven't committed. So like you're gonna be a criminal in 20 years. We're gonna arrest you right now, prevent.
But like, if my DNA knew all that, why is it holding out on me?
I don't know. I don't know why it took.
I thought I was gonna
20
die
years
when
to-
I was 16.
I mean, it's been a while since I've seen the movie, but that's the basic
Yeah.
concept. And the main character is like one of the cops, one of the main people that takes care of this. He gets tested, or something is messed up to where everyone's after him now, and they want to capture or kill him, and he's like the main guy.
Sounds
So
kind of
it's
like
like backfired.
Captain America: Winter Soldier, where like they found out the gene or whatever that makes people violent, and so they had the big old airships with all the guns, and they were like, "We're just gonna kill everybody who's gonna be violent." And Captain America was like, "Not today."
Yeah, exactly.
Like the idea that you can stop a crime before it's committed. If you could stop a crime before it was committed, would you? Like if you knew that in 30 years your newborn child was gonna be a serial killer, would you try and like raise him to do everything the right way?
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
you,
I would
like,
do almost everything I possibly could besides just kill him, because I mean, there's probably a million trillion different avenues and ways and things and choices that we can make to prevent that, is what I would hope. It would be that would hope. Whether it would be true or not, or the inevitable would happen either way, I don't know. I guess we would still get to that point.
Sure.
Like, I would just be sad about it because I knew that I wouldn't be able to make a decision killing.
That's like that dude in World War I who saved Hitler's life or whatever, and then
Yeah.
later killed himself because he realized he saved Hitler. Like, I wouldn't care. I mean,
Yeah,
if I saved somebody like that,
Sure,
and they
you
went
didn't know
out,
at the time.
yeah,
You
I
were
mean,
just
it wasn't
being
my
a
fault.
genuine person.
I was just being a decent dude.
Yeah, you're being normal.
Yeah, and then they're like, well, if you were Hitler's mom and you knew you were gonna have Hitler, would you abort him? And I'm like,
No,
no, because then
I
Hitler would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You would try to do everything you can to make sure that didn't happen, even if even if the inevitable is going to happen. I think 99% people you are the one exception.
I mean, but like, look at all the good things that came out of World War II.
I don't need to, because it's just in the past. It
Enlighten us.
led to right now us talking in a podcast about it.
What, like the good things that came from World War II?
Yeah.
Well, it led to the eventual collapse of communism in Russia.
Okay.
It led to like globalization and the Great Seven Nations or whatever, and the UN and all that crap.
That sounds good.
No.
I was going to say, you're just talking about additional government here.
But all the Nazis that we hijacked from Germany, we had them build our rockets for us, and they put us on the moon, and that's pretty cool.
Did we actually go to the moon?
Yeah. I 100% think we went to the moon.
Yeah, but this is just a simulation. So anything
It's
can
no
happen.
big task,
A
you know.
simulated moon.
The moon is not very far away. It's just rendering that direction.
Like the movie where the Nazis put themselves on the moon.
Don't know
I
what
didn't see
is.
that.
It's called Iron Skies. And basically, they escaped towards the end of the war, and a bunch of the generals and stuff went up the moon. I think Hitler was there, but I don't remember. I wasn't too invested in that movie.
Hitler's actually
That sounds
in
like
Chile
pretty
right
interesting.
No, he's on the moon.
now. Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, he's the man on
He is the man in the moon.
in the simulated moon.
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about the Android thing again just a little bit, because I feel like you're right about how androids there's not really a chance of androids taking over the world without humans.
Sure.
But I think there's a possibility of a human being behind the take of an army.
Elon Musk.
Okay, but like if there was already an android army, right? If there was already millions of androids out there, say they were working in the mines and they were cutting the wood and they were working the factories and humans were living this life of luxury, right?
Right.
Right.
They were doing all the hard work. And
Yeah,
we
they
were just chilling.
They were doing everything. People were just like, whatever, At that point, wouldn't you think that the androids would be the more human? Because what makes us human is the struggle, If you don't struggle, I think that's why like so many like rich people commit suicide, because like if you don't have struggle, you don't have to overcome problems.
Basically, what you're saying is that kind of thing in your life creates value.
Yeah, it gives you your worth, If you don't work for a living and you don't do anything with your life.
Well, that's a given. We're able to figure that and observe that with a kid that grows up in a rich family, doesn't know what it's like not to have any.
Yeah.
Completely disrespects the ability to earn.
Sure. Or to understand the happiness of overcoming that struggle. But if we came to a point where humans relied solely on robots to do things, and the robots were the ones that were, picking the rice and shoveling poop, everything else, like they would be the more human. And at that point, I think they would deserve to win.
Yeah.
So if we ever get to that point, how do we sustain ourselves? Just
The robots
does everything
sustain us.
become free though? Then I guess is what I'm saying.
I mean,
Is there like some sort of civil
Yeah,
war
or do we
thing
have to
happening?
pay the robots for their rice?
no.
Because they're robots. What are they gonna do with money?
Well, what do they want from us? Like, what do they decide to take over? Because they want to be in our position, or they want to be considered sentient?
I don't think they
human
would ever
beings?
have the sense of wonder and exploration that humans have, or
Until they learn it.
I don't think they would ever desire to be free. If robots overthrew people, I think you're right. It'd probably be because somebody programmed them to do it.
Yeah, there would have to be for me, like for that to be believable for me. I think there would have to be some sort of human master,
Yeah,
Elon
like-
Musk.
some evil guy. Elon Musk, he keeps saying. So I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe he's creating an army of
Hey,
Uh,
he's working on AI stuff and like
yeah, his chips and stuff. They keep failing.
his what?
He's working on these AI chips to sell, like big to be, big business companies. Right?
Big business.
Yeah, so he can sell to like I
He
don't
wants
know,
us to be like
GE and
he wants us to be like
Samsung and-
cyborgs too, like a artificial intelligence like interface with your brain, so you could like just Google stuff in your head basically.
yeah, and it could jumpstart or make you a lot smarter than you're capable of doing. Just
Yeah, like you would be basically like your cell phone, like you could just think of something and then results instant.
Yeah, so Cyborg is kind of cool. I think that.
Screw that.
I mean, yeah, I don't like the concept of it. I would never want that to happen to me, but I mean, I feel like that's more probable than an actual like full metal and wires thing becoming.
But how will we ever
smart
get to
and
that
intelligent.
point? Like right now, we're
Just
afraid
technology.
to test food on people, let alone putting implants in people. Like if
There's
there was a
there's
company,
a definite line that has to be crossed at some
Yeah.
point. 100%.
like there had to be some crazy Nazi doctors or something who are like, let's give this guy a gun for an arm.
I think
And then-
people would volunteer for this crap.
dude, I would.
No.
If I could get like night vision just built into my head in a third eye, if I could have two hearts and oversized stomachs, if I could have, extra lungs and organs that help me breathe underwater,
I mean, at that
or
point,
completely facilitate my need to breathe, just get rid of it.
we're definitely skipping a step here. Like, I think maybe it starts with, people being healed with like, for example, I have terrible asthma. It would be amazing if somebody came up with a way to cure the asthma. Maybe it's that I have cyborg lungs or something, or I have a piece in my lungs that prevents me from
Like a little air compressor, and you gotta like start it up in the morning, goes bing,
Yeah,
all day.
whatever it is. I think it starts with things like that, that technology would advance in those areas, and then eventually people are okay with it, and they've been kind of like desensitized to the dehumanity of having a computer or a robot inside your body.
I mean, there's already like pacemakers and stuff, so
I mean, that's
phase one.
I think where it starts, and maybe we're just going really slow at it or something. But I mean, you can get arms now. People that are like amputees can have arms that interact with the nervous system in their brain, that little attachments and things like that, and they can think, and it'll move the hand.
Do you think if somebody requested an prosthetic arm but built in had a crossbow in it, do you think there'd be any laws against that?
Guarantee Mark would do that.
Guarantee that I'm gonna do it someday. Me and this
You're gonna chop off your leg and just put in like a big old gat.
dude, me and this kid, this has been our dream
This
for
kid.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't say names.
He's not gonna say it.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna say his name, but we've seriously dreamed about this for like 3 years now, because somehow I'm gonna become super rich and fund it for him, and he's
course,
gonna be
that's a
super
given.
smart, and we're gonna have like, and they'll be like interchangeable, so you could like chop your arm off, and you could put on like a crossbow arm or something like that, or put on a shotgun arm.
Like it just goes pops
Yeah, you
off
just
and
like
you just
twist
put
it,
on another.
take off your hand, and then you put on like a crossbow arm, and you just, or whatever.
What if you could fit the crossbow arm? What if it's like a folding crossbow arm? Like you could fold it up at something like the size of your cell
That'd be
phone.
even cooler.
Have it in your pocket and just whip it out, and it's like
I have this comical like thing going through my head here that sounds awesome, except for you'd have to carry around this giant backpack full of like interchangeable things.
Not saying you have to carry them all with you at all
Yeah, but
times.
it reminds me of like the '90s when
Yeah.
like we had CDs, like CD
your
players.
big
you
old
know?
book of CDs.
Yeah, and then but the more CDs you had, the bigger giant book of CDs that you
Yeah.
had. And
Yeah, it's just like any tool. You have like a shed full of them. You're like, oh, I'm going crossbow hunting this weekend. You put your crossbow arm on, or
like
you pack
which
it
ones
with
am
you.
I gonna
Or like
need?
you're gonna go to the bar and you're like, I might be dancing tonight with some ladies, so I'm gonna put on my dancing arm, and
No, or if you're going, I was thinking like going to the bar, you have like a spring-loaded boxing glove arm.
so you can just like punch the guy next to you. Dude, just imagine like that would revolutionize drunk combat.
Yeah, like you don't have to move your arm because it's like spring loaded, so it's just like automatically like punching, but your arm is just sitting like
And
this.
with your other hand, you're still sipping your beer.
Yeah.
You're just like,
Yeah.
And
just
like, what
like
happens
taking
if
this
you
dude out.
accidentally trigger that? Like, what if you're like going to bed and you forgot to take off your punching arm because you're drunk and you just start beating your wife or something just with this punching arm in the middle of the night? You don't know. You don't have any muscle.
Yeah, there's a risk you got to be willing to take, I guess.
Yeah, you're shopping for, crystal presents for somebody's wedding, and you're just like, I'm going to go grab this. And you're just,
Well, you wouldn't
just
be
punch
grabbing
them.
with your punching hand.
What if you got two of them?
You go to the bathroom and you just punch yourself in the junk.
That's why you take it off and put your
I got to
Your
win.
bathroom hand on.
your bathroom hand
Oh,
on
trust
it.
me, you got other attachments by this point.
It's like this. It's like this big, like super padded, like glove so that everything is delicate. Just.
I know, but
What if you had to have a prosthetic piece?
yeah. Oh, I know.
Would you have interchangeable arms?
Sizes, yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, why not?
I mean, for sure. I don't know. I would, if you could do that, I would definitely have
A crossbow
sounds
piece.
for things too, just like integrated into it. So
I would get rid
like
of
every
like
time I change my arm, it would be like.
yeah. I would get rid of
Unnecessary,
like
but-
basic utensils in my house too. Like I had to have like a fork hand and a knife hand or something, like eating steak like
Like
that.
it's way inconvenient to just have a normal hand to pick up a fork,
Yeah.
but you would just attach a fork.
Yeah. I mean, people are gonna be lining up just voluntarily chopping their limbs off for these attachments. They're gonna be so dope.
I feel like it'd be like a hop, skip, and a jump away from all of us being like Pacific Rim robots. Like you like whip out this long sword that goes out like 20 feet, and you're like, time to die.
Yeah.
See, I always thought of like practical applications, or at least I tried to.
Yeah.
Not that it would be easy to carry on like
Like
20.
Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, you'd have like
extension
20
leg.
foot arms or something like that. You save cats out of trees all the time. Like
You know how terrifying that'd be to see somebody like reaching up into a tree and their arms are like 20 feet long.
Oh,
Yeah.
were they extendable or they're just always 20 feet long? Like you have to
You're
get
like,
to the
well-
tree.
both. There's gonna be some of each.
There's a
Oh.
kid stuck in the tree. Guess I gotta walk back 3 blocks, grab my 20 feet arms, and walk all the way back to where the kid is.
Yeah.
Imagine dragging 20 feet arms behind you all the way to.
I mean, they'll be carbon fiber, so they'll be light.
Oh, I was gonna say, you got
Imagine
there. I
slapping
don't have any
somebody with
thumbs anymore.
With
They,
a 20-foot arm.
the amount of leverage you would have. You'd probably break the carbon fiber arm. You'd be like,
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
Or like you could get some 20-foot legs even if you wanted to.
Yeah.
that would
Why
be
not?
horrifying. You imagine now. Here's like a science experiment, right?
Okay.
So when I move my arm like this, right,
Mhm.
I'm moving it back and forth in case you can't see me.
For sure.
Well, side to side, I guess, in a waving motion.
Sure.
Right. The tip of my fingers is going faster than my shoulder. Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how long would your arm have to be before the tip of your fingers was going the speed of light? Just rip down a skyscraper from like a mile away.
That thing would be so heavy.
You create like a black hole because you like fractured so many particles. It's just like
You
it
just-
sucks up the earth.
All
Just
you-
one
all you
swoop
did-
over your head and you just kill everybody. Just
All you did was forget you had it on and you tried to itch your nose and just
like, oh crap.
destroy the universe.
You have to sneeze and you just kill yourself.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that
Interchangeable
hand
limbs.
is so. I haven't been able to use it yet because it's so heavy. And then I finally got this other attachment that makes me have super
Yeah.
strength.
You're like, oh, this.
So then I put that on and the world blew up.
Yeah. When this happens, like your normal hand is just not gonna cut it anymore. You're gonna have to chop it off. You
I
can
know
get
you-
like super strength ones, like crushing cinder blocks or something with your hand.
It's like the new tattoo. You see somebody with like awesome tattoos all over, and you're like, man, that's
sick.
so
What kind of
much
attachment
cooler
you
than
got?"
me. I got no tattoos. But then they're gonna be like, oh dang, you got like the sickest new
you
attachment.
got the scissor arms. Sweet.
Scissor arms.
You guys seriously, I got my lemonade arm right now. I'm gonna make some lemonade.
You got like a pouch, like a bladder in your shirt, so you can just dispense lemon. I mean, what's stopping us from doing that right now?
You guys thirsty?
Well, we're talking
some
yeah,
water in your mouth.
There's nothing stopping us from doing the lemonade
Tomorrow-
dispenser arm.
Tomorrow I'm gonna have a Camelback pouch underneath my shirt, Nate. I'm gonna come to work and I'm just gonna whip this little nipple out of my wrist and just be like,
No, you need to chop your hand off.
just
Like-
feed it through my artery, do like surgery on myself and get it through my heart and everything, and just run lemonade.
Yeah,
I think it'd be
the
warm.
technology exists. Okay, he's just saying the technology
Yeah.
exists. You don't have to wait for anything to make this.
Yeah.
happen.
Do you think it'd be a different experience drinking lemonade if you knew the straw was running through somebody's body?
Yes.
Would it be life changing or would it just be different?
I think it would be gross.
It's
And
one
I
of
would
those
not
things
do
where
it.
you just try it once.
Like using the artery as a straw, you know, like,
Like, I have to drink it out of their arm?
yeah,
I'm not doing that. No.
the future is now, old man.
I thought you were, like, talking about it just being dispensed out of them, but not drinking it out of them.
What's the difference? No, like it would
I'm not gonna
obviously
do
have a
either of them.
nozzle. Like you're not gonna
Like a little
suck
bendy
up on
straw
their
coming out
wrist,
of
you
your
know,
mouth.
and hope it comes out. Give them a hickey.
You just said drink it from their veins.
Yeah, but like the vein is the tube, but it has a nipple on the end.
And you just squeeze it and then
Yeah.
dispense it
You
into
just
a cup.
milk your wrist.
Yeah, like maybe I ran like a couple gallons of water through my artery first, so like there wasn't any blood particulate left. You know, would
Yeah,
you
but-
drink lemonade out of my vein for $1 million? Do
Yes.
If you cleaned it with bleach first.
For $1 million, I'll do
you think
it.
that would hurt?
Let's find out.
You
By
think you
the-
could feel the inside of your veins?
Yeah, I think every part of our body has nerves.
My butt doesn't anymore.
After that trip
That's
to
true.
prison.
Yeah.
Dude, you can't feel hardly anything in the backside of you.
Okay.
You know, Mark can't stand on his toes anymore.
On my left foot.
On his
I don't
left
think
foot.
I can stand on my what do you mean on my toes?
Like, just lift your heel up off the
oh
ground.
yeah, I can do that. I thought you were saying like on
Like
the
a
toes.
like a ballerina.
It's like I'd probably break all of my toes simultaneously.
Yeah. What
Sounds
if you
like a
could
good
get like a prosthetic, just butt cheek?
I would get a whole prosthetic lower half.
I mean, at that point, it's just like plastic surgery. My sister had cancer, and they had to cut out half of her butt.
Yeah.
And we've always like asked why she doesn't get like an implant or something.
So it's just normal, back to normal.
But what if she had like a jetpack butt cheek?
That would
That's
be
what I'm
dope.
saying. Yeah, it's not like
Jetpack feet, legs, you know, like Iron Man.
yeah,
But,
or
like,
like
out of your butt,
I mean,
so you sit in the squat position as you fly.
it doesn't have to necessarily be something so useful as that. It could be something as funny as every time you fart, it makes different song sounds.
Or it's a suppressor. Like
Yeah,
The
You-
possibilities are limited. Like, you dream
true.
it, you can do it.
exactly.
The future is now.
I met a guy yesterday that had a glass eye.
Did he pop it out?
No, but it
Was
didn't.
it Bill Patterson?
No,
Oh yeah, we're not using names. My bad.
but it only looked one direction, and even when he was looking down like at his card and his eyelid was closed on one side, it was still looking forward at me and the other eye. I was
You're
like,
just-
whoa.
Did you do like this?
No, I knew exactly which eye to look at that point.
I would have looked right at that one.
it's like in the Lord of the Rings when
I should have just yelled, "What are you looking at?"
when there's the all-seeing eye orb and tries to grab it, and Gandalf's eyes are open. You know?
Yeah.
People who sleep with their eyes open.
For sure. My great grandma slept with her eyes open.
No
Okay, so
way.
Unintentionally. Yeah, she would all the time.
Did you poke her in the eyes?
No, but I'd be like hanging out at my grandparents' house, and my great grandparents
staring
would
at
be there too, and I was a little kid. And we'd be watching I Love Lucy. And I fell asleep too, trust me. But, you know, she'd be over there and snoring. And then we'd look over at her, my brother and I, and she'd be eyes like halfway open, just like pretty much staring across the room going.
I'd go over there and just shut her eyelids.
So I'd ask my grandma, is she asleep? Yes, she sleeps with her eyes open.
So now here's
It's
the toss-up.
weird, dude.
Here's the question.
Yeah.
While we're on the topic of body modification.
Yeah.
If you could have an eyeball that magnified things up to 9 times, but you had to stab it out with to get it, would you do it?
No.
I would.
Why would you have to do it with a spoon?
No,
Pain is
what?
temporary. Magnifying eyeball is forever.
So can you take it out?
That
Or is
seems
it-
like a lame superpower. It would have to do something really cool. Like, it
like
would-
why only 9 times magnification?
What if you had an eyeball that could shoot bullets where you were looking? Like
Have you
just
ever
like,
watched Naruto?
No.
Oh, I was going to say I'd want the Sharingan eye, but you don't know what that is.
Tell
So-
us.
That joke might be funny.
Literally, the dude had this eye that he had covered up all the time until he was in a fight, and basically he could uncover that eye and he could copy every move that his enemy was doing and do it.
Why
so
would he cover
was
his eye
undefeatable.
ever then?
Because I don't know. It
Like
was
in
an
Fantastic
anime.
Four, there's a dude with the laser eyes, and that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like wear the cool sunglasses so you don't fry your girlfriend. But like, why would you
Because
cover
it's
an
freaky
eye?
looking.
Who cares?
Yeah, but
If I
he
had a
could
f-
learn to do everything better than everybody.
I don't know why. I mean, it's an anime, so it's
If I had
probably
a
just
freaky
looked
looking
cool.
eye.
It looked cool. Thing over his eye all the time.
If I had a freaky looking eye, I would show that off every day. I'd like stare at little kids at the mall and freak them out. You know, like I'm copying your moves.
You should just do that anyway.
Like if I had a glass eye, no joke. If I had a glass eye, I would have it painted to look like the Sharingan eye from Naruto, which is like this red-looking eye with like 4 pupils on it, and they like look like they're twisted like this. It would be really freaky.
I would
looking.
just keep the open eye socket. I wouldn't fake eye.
Just like a dark hole in your face.
Or there's like a bird's nest in your eye socket.
Yeah.
A chrome
I
one
would
so they
keep
could
stuff
see
in it.
themselves, and then it would be really weird because people would feel like that they can see into their own
You
souls.
could keep stuff in it, like your loose change or something. Like
You could get like a little super glue and like tie glue a string to the inside of your eye, like a little red string, and glue it to the back of your glass eye, and just like lean down, and your glass eye falls out and like dangles from your face. And everyone's like, "Oh my god!"
Oh, never. I'll just get that.
I would keep it empty. Like
If you kept your spare change in there, when you walk around with change in your pocket and it clinks, would it still make that sound?
Probably.
You're just like walking around, it's like ching, ching, ching.
Could you get pink eye in a socket if you didn't have an eye? Like if
Yeah.
some kid ate a penny and then pooped it out, and the
then
next day you got it at a cash register,
And you were,
and
And I
you
put
stuck
it
it
in
in
my
your
eye socket.
in your change pocket in your face. And then all of a sudden you got pink eye. Would you wake up with your socket crusted
I
over?
think it would just be pink socket.
And you couldn't get that. You couldn't get the penny out. So like
Gross.
the problem would just always be there.
it would be, you'd go to the doctor and be like, can you tell me what's going on? And he'd be like, you have pink eye. And you're like, I got no eye. So
I don't
that
have
ain't
an eye.
true.
Go to the doctor, be like, "What's going on?" And be like, "You're a moron. You put a penny in your eye socket."
Yeah,
Runs you
don't
to the
don't come
X-ray.
back here again. I don't want to see you.
I'm just like, that was the first thing that came to mind. Put your car keys in there or something, or
You could go golfing and put a golf ball in
yeah,
there.
little snacks like.
Just to keep your goldfish up there. Oh yeah.
What about
Yeah.
a Ritz cracker from your eyeball?
I would get like
I
a
really like Reese's.
I would
man.
just get like a clear like sphere, like the ones that you get out of the quarter machines, Like
Yeah.
one of those, and you could put your snacks in that, and then pop that sucker in your eye, and people would see all your crackers in your eye, and
Imagine like
Yeah.
walking
Pop
up
it
to a
out.
chick.
crack it open to eat a couple goldfish, put it back in.
Dude, here's a morbid thought. You on Easter, you could hide an Easter egg in there
Yes.
for the kids.
They'll never find it.
They'll never find this
Your
one.
eyes like bulging to it just from your face. Hey guys, guess where the last one is?
You're like,
And
hey,
everybody
kids, come over
knows.
here. But you can't guess where it's at.
Everybody
This
knows
one's
where
got
it's at.
$100 in it.
They
if
just
you
don't
can
want
get
to touch it.
They're just like, well, let's just let Uncle Mark have
Yeah,
his day.
let's let have crazy Uncle Mark just keep his A guy.
Imagine
Yeah.
like picking up chicks. With,
It's
like,
got
your fake
$100
eye.
in it.
Yeah, what
You
up,
could-
baby?
No, you could like with what you're saying, like one of those little things from Pizza Hut, where you stick the toys in them or whatnot. Have one of them little pods in your eye, keep your eye closed, and walk up to her and be like, "Hey, you want a kiss?" And she'd be like, "Sure." And you like pull it out and pull out a Hershey's Kiss out of your eyeball and give it to her.
I don't think that's gonna pick up chicks. That's gonna scare them away.
I don't know, the right woman.
She
She'd
probably
be
has
like,
no
I've
teeth.
been waiting for this.
I have a really relevant joke right now, but
I
want
want to see what
Okay,
somebody
good.
looks like without a glass eye.
No, you don't.
I'm gonna do it.
Just a big old dark socket. It's going
Imagine-
to look like that chick from The Birds where the birds pecked out their eyeballs. And it was the scariest thing I ever saw when I was a kid.
Back to the topic of artificial intelligence,
Good one.
right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, I've still got so many things that I want to talk about on this.
I know I'm getting there. Realistically, it comes down to what you think a soul is. Like, if the robots don't have a soul,
Yeah.
right? Like, I guess it just depends on to what extent humans have souls.
Yeah.
Like I was talking the other day about that Phineas Gage dude who had the rod shoved through his head,
Yeah.
and like everyone said he changed, his personality changed. At that point, was it still the same soul? Like, was he still the same dude, or was he a different dude?
I
And
don't
if that's
know.
the case, if a metal rod can transfer, soul, then could a robot get soul by getting smacked with a metal rod? I'm not
I don't-
talking about jazz music.
So you mean like, okay, so this guy, Phineas Gage, normal dude, gets in this freak injury where the rod goes through his head, survives, becomes a different person, basically.
Become another person.
Become another person. Anyway, so like the people around him, they've known him for years, and now that this injury has happened to him, like they know he's not the same Phineas Gage.
Yeah,
So what you're suggesting is that the original Phineas Gage that had a soul died,
sure.
and now he's just
At that point, would he still have a soul, but like a different soul, or would he just be like
a heart and a brain and just like something
a
that's
robot?
functioning.
A robot.
But like a fleshly robot, something that doesn't have any any technology in him, obviously, but he's just like a body that's functioning.
Like autistic.
Okay.
I'm so lost right now. I don't even know what you guys are talking
Stop
about.
looking at your phone.
I was looking at people without eyeballs.
We've evolved beyond that point.
I don't know. I think that there's a chance and a possibility that I think your description of that is an explanation for what happened, but I don't think that could reverse happen to a robot, is what you're saying.
No, yeah, okay. But like, I'm saying, is that an example of evidence of you not really having a soul? Like, if there's no defining you aside from just
That wouldn't
your...
be evidence of that. There was obviously something missing.
Maybe that something is just a chunk of his brain. What if all that
Well,
makes
obviously,
you
he had a
you
rod go through it.
is your brain and there is no such thing as soul? Then in which case, robots could be just as capable as us. But I like to think there is soul.
Yeah.
I like to think that...
I just don't know if it's located
Where would it be located?
in your bowels.
Your piece.
In your plums.
In your plums. Maybe.
Sorry, women. You don't have a soul.
No, I think it's your spleen.
Plumbus.
The spleen has no purpose except for that's where your soul is.
When I was a kid, I wrote a poem about my cat, and I said that he would me,
True.
and that he licked his spleen, and I didn't realize that the spleen was on the inside of your body. And so my teacher thought my cat was like cut open, you know, and he was like licking his guts.
But you were just like, no, I thought a spleen was something else.
I just thought it was like a part of your body, like
Just man.
think of it like where your kidneys are. That's what I imagined it was, like that back piece, you know, like lower back.
And he's licking it because he's a cat.
Yeah, he's licking it because he doesn't have anything better to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if I sat in a house all day, every day for the rest of my life, I'd probably lick myself too.
I bet you would. I would not be surprised if I walked in on you and saw that.
I already do.
You know, a cat's like they like stick their back leg like right up in the air and they're licking.
It's like straight up, yeah.
licking their unit.
It's like a
It's him.
That's him.
It's a Hitler salute with their back leg licking their junk.
Deutschland.
Oh man, dude, have you watched any of the Black Mirror episodes?
Yeah.
You have. Did you see the one with the little bees?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they like lodge themselves on people's heads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like how I picture an android takeover. But most people they picture the Terminator thing where there's like these giant like human-sized robots. But I keep thinking like
Which
they're
would be cooler, by the way.
nano like things like nanotech or something like that could be undetectable or unseen or at least small enough like a bee to where you wouldn't notice it right away.
I'd notice a bee.
I know, but you see, like 10 bees can like fly somewhere, and literally nobody can notice that. But if it was like 10 human-sized figures going somewhere at the same time, most likely they're going to.
The ideal way to fight that would be with a shotgun.
The bees?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched this video. This dude, he had shotgun like weird little bullets that are plastic and they have all the BBs in them.
Yeah.
And he had them in his .22 handgun, and there was all these carpenter bees like eating his deck. And he's like, "This video is gonna be different than most of my videos." And he just starts shooting bees with his little .22 handgun. I was like, "That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That seems like it'd be a good time."
Why is that so effective? Is because even if the BB doesn't hit them, the BB is traveling at a velocity that will knock the bee out of the air or something.
Well, I think it's like
If it comes close,
if there's enough BBs, it'll just go through its wings, like, and then what's it gonna do?
fall.
Yeah.
So
Or
eventually die because it can't fly.
yeah.
I don't know. I brought up the bee thing because I feel like we're probably closer to that type of technology than human-sized androids carrying giant rifles, running around, killing people, and traveling to the past.
But let's be real. If life is a simulation and it revolves around you, wouldn't you rather have the big robot?
Yeah, it'd probably be a little more exciting.
Yeah. So just think that way, and that's what's gonna happen.
Plus, I'm scared of bees. I don't like bees.
I'm scared of.
I'm not scared of giant metal skeleton robots with red eyes. Never
Not
even
gonna
seen
lie,
one.
If I woke up in the middle of the night and there was a giant metal skeleton robot with the red eyes standing over me, I'd be like,
What up, dog?
"What do you need, Dad?"
Dad?
Dad?
That's really great.
This is all the more reason for me to live in the middle of nowhere. The middle of nowhere.
The middle of the nowhere.
Yeah, the middle of the nowhere in my sim.
I already have a plan, and I call it God's plan.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
hear
for like robot invasion.
it. Yeah.
The plan changes depending on what the issue is.
All right, let's start with nuclear war.
There is no plan. You just die at that point. I mean, realistically, I don't think we'd get nuked. Everyone's like, well, Montana has 3 refineries, or Billings, sorry, has 3 refineries, and
So?
that makes it a target. And I'm like, or my favorite thing is when people are like, Montana has 2,000 nukes, so, you know, that makes it a target. But, like, missile silos are built to withstand direct blasts.
Yeah, that's got no effect.
Yeah, it's got minimal. I mean, if the Russians spent all of their 6,000 missiles blowing up the 6,000 U.S. missiles, we'd still have, like, 6,000 missiles. So it wouldn't really be effective, you know?
Yeah, they're probably waiting for that that to happen so they can just waste their missiles.
I think their goal would be to take out as many people that could fight them as possible, so they'd like blow up like Los Angeles and New York and stuff. And honestly, in any end case scenario, like if
I don't think they have to worry about people from Los Angeles fighting because they're all citizens there, right?
maybe,
I think
but
Chuck Norris lives there.
in like an end of the world,
Just kidding. he
They
lives in
can't kill
Texas.
him.
poop hits the fan scenario, anybody in a city is gonna die, no matter what the situation is,
Yeah.
unless maybe every animal united against us. Then maybe we would die first.
Yeah, I was listening to a different podcast, and they were talking about insects and how that there's like literally 10 million insects per pound for every human
Probably.
on the earth, and that if insects were intelligent enough, that we would be eradicated easily.
Oh yeah.
But like
That'd be pretty crazy.
that would require some major coordination. Like the insects would have to have like radio technology and whatnot.
I mean, a lot of them can already communicate with each other, Pat.
Yeah, but by smells, they can only communicate as fast as the wind moves.
But if they were intelligent enough to,
Make the wind move faster.
yeah,
Flap
So
their
they have
wings
giant
more.
fans. They go and turn on fan. They've like harvested like millions of Sears box fans, and they turn the wind on. So
it's very anticlimactic. Like the way you defeat the insects is just turning the fans off. You're just like,
What if the insects,
no, we're saved.
they have detachable limbs too, and they get like 20-foot wings? So
they have crossbow arms.
Yeah, I mean,
What
maybe
about-
we won't be the first ones to have this technology.
this one, I think we talked about it last time, or maybe we talked about it personally, but the what's it called? The chronic wasting disease with the
Yeah.
deer.
Oh, speaking of which, I got some BZ to tip out.
Ooh, I like BZ.
You can say whatever you say.
No, I was just gonna say that you did tell me about that, but we were off air. We were off air when we were having the chronic
That's
wasting
crazy.
disease combo.
But basically,
Yep.
the fishing game got all freaked out about it. So
Yeah, they did.
Me and my whole family drew me and my male family members, obviously.
Obviously, women
Well,
can't hunt.
Well, my mom's blind and my sister had cancer, so that kind of writes that
She
off.
doesn't. You mean she doesn't? She only has half a butt.
Oh yeah,
That probably prevents her from hunting more.
she,
had,
than
like-
she
having cancer.
half-asses everything.
She had butt cheek cancer or what?
Well, it was like nervous cancer. She had a tumor on her sciatic nerve or something like that. It was leukemia, I think, but like tumors. I don't know.
That
how
sounds
that
This is a
ridiculous.
tumor. Anyway,
I
what
was
about,
like 12 at the time, so I don't really remember
tell
much
us
of
the
that.
tag story.
So you
Oh yeah,
drew
yeah. So we
tags.
drew these tags in the priors,
Yeah.
and then like a week ago, my dad got an email. This is like 3 months after we got the tags. Now, if you draw tags somewhere, you're not allowed to hunt anywhere else. We can hunt doe anywhere else, but we can't hunt a buck anywhere else.
Right.
And like, I don't mean to sound sexist, but the male deer have more meat.
They do.
Yeah,
They do. That's
So,
not
like-
sexist.
yeah. It's not about the horns. It's about the meat. But
Saying that it was just males going hunting, obviously, that was sexist.
the women stay home and pick berries and clean clothes. But anyway, hunter gatherer.
yeah, I get it.
But anyway, so we got an email, and the Forest Service or the fishing game was like, "Oh, by the way, if you hunt a buck in the priors, you need to leave all of its spinal stuff there, which means you'd have to completely skin and strip the animal and debone the animal in the field,
Spinal or anything
like
bone?
skull, back, which includes like the rib cage. I mean, you could take its legs, but like." I mean, could you imagine skinning an animal and cutting its bones apart and everything like there while you're like,
So, like, with its, like, quarters, could you take the leg bone?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did with my deer last year.
I know, but like, would it suck?
No, it's really easy, actually.
No, it means like you would have to leave the back and the skull in the woods.
You can't take anything that's nervous system related with you, like,
So if you wanted like the meat from its back,
That's
You'd have to-
interesting, because I thought you just had to get it checked.
no, yeah, they told us, the email said, if you grab a deer up there, you have to leave its whole operation.
So do you still have to get it checked?
No.
Why not?
Because apparently the disease only lives inside so if you leave it rotting in a field, apparently that's better than dragging it halfway across the state. I don't understand how it works.
But you're still going to be transporting.
But like the stuff you'd be transporting wouldn't have the disease because the disease is transferred via.
It's transferred through, like, anything that comes
I
out of
don't-
their
I
body. It's from, like, spit,
the
poop,
Forest Service
pee.
never makes sense, man.
Not the Forest Service.
Or fish and game. None
Yeah.
of they never make sense.
So I've listened to some stuff about this, and it is kind of scary.
Why is it like zombieism and deer?
Well,
it
it has the
kinda
potential to be very scary, I guess.
Bring it on.
It's like,
I'm ready.
oh, I know, I'm just saying. It can forever change.
I'm ready.
No, you're not, because all your bullets are sitting right here.
Dang it. Hang on a minute.
Without,
This
I
isn't
mean,
the
I
first
can't.
time we've had a gun on the podcast.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
When was the other time?
I swear you had a pistol with you.
Yeah, I probably did.
Oh no, it was Hunter. He was over here. We were gonna podcast with him, but we didn't.
I mean, I usually have mine with me.
In my defense, I was gonna
You
leave
were-
this in my car.
There's one time you were playing with the slide on or something.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, I can't describe it as good as these like scientist people can. But basically, the disease is like transmitted. Like it can be transmitted from like their saliva. So like a deer could go eat out of say a corn pile, and then another deer could come and eat out of that corn pile, and then probably get chronic wasting disease just because it touched saliva from the other.
Dude,
And
if that
then-
transferred to humans, I'd just go around spitting on people.
Well, that's the thing is like they haven't confirmed that humans can contract it yet, but they're not ruling it out yet.
So, like, what's the downside to the disease?
You die a very crappy
But
death.
what's the downside to the disease?
Yeah. So where's the bad part?
I'm still waiting for, like, I have a cruel and painful existence and live until I'm 70 with no limbs and paralyzed and an iron lung, and this thing has to
Hey, if you lose your limbs, just hit me up. I'll get you some cool
get
new
me
ones.
some crossbow, extendable clipazine arms,
Clipazine arms.
semi-fully automatic.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. And like because it's not like a virus or anything, it's a protein, and it can stay alive, quotes, on the surface of things for up to 10 years.
Whoa.
It's pretty crazy stuff.
So why is it called chronic?
Because it's dank, dude. It's dank.
It is some chronic dro, man.
I don't know. I'm gonna share the
love of the
thing
chronic
that I
disease.
listen to it on because it has some smart dudes on it
Yeah.
that are way better talkers than me.
Well, aren't we all?
What is this crap on your computer?
So, since we were talking a little bit about technology tonight, I wanted to share a news story about technology before we're done.
Why? Well, go back to that headline.
I know
They can open without their teeth.
I'm gonna
like-
I'm gonna read it here. Okay. So the headline of this article is Microsoft's Xbox adaptive controller. Basically, what the controller is, it's like literally a big square with two giant buttons on it that you can press with, like if you don't have hands or something. Since we were talking
with your
about
nubs.
you can press it with your nubs or your head or your nose or something, so you can still play a game. And it's got a little like a D-pad that's like 4 times bigger than normal, and some start buttons on it, but two big giant buttons on it.
Mark,
And
do you have a D-pad that's
so-
bigger than normal?
Yes, I do.
That's what the adaptive controller is. So Microsoft's Xbox adaptive controller now has packaging that gamers with disabilities can open without their teeth. This is
I don't think I've ever opened an Xbox controller package with my teeth.
Have you seen
Yeah.
the video of that dude with like cerebral palsy or something? I don't know what his disorder is, but he says he's a fidget spinner and he spins around.
Yeah.
I think of that guy when you said he opens things with his teeth. I could just imagine
See, I
Oh
thought-
yeah, that guy is.
munching down on an Xbox box.
Here's what I want. Like it says packaging that gamers with disabilities can open. Like, so the gamers without disabilities still have to use their teeth to open it, or what?
I don't know. The article
You're not
title-
disabled. Bite that open right
The
now.
reason why I bookmarked this is because, one, I thought that it was mistyped, because I thought it meant that they made packaging that they can open with their teeth, because I was thinking the type of controller that it is for people that don't have hands or arms or something like that, and they can play it easier with their feet or something like that.
Their
So
piece.
I figured, they're probably used to opening
Their
things
D-pad.
with their teeth, so maybe they made a package that you can open with your teeth.
So how do you open it?
But they
You
specifically
scream
made
for
this
help.
so you don't have to open it with your teeth. It just says it has multiple access points that include loops and hinges and levers.
Nathan has multiple access points.
They do include loops
It
and
just says
hinges and levers.
it includes a ribbon that you just pull and it activates a flap that lays flat.
But what if you don't have hands?
Mark has a ribbon.
That's
you
what
can
I'm
pull.
saying. Like, I can't think of a situation where this actually would be legitimately
Maybe that's
helpful.
the joke, is like they just can't get into it. They got disabilities. They're obviously buying it because they don't have hands.
Yeah.
And
You
they
think-
can't use their teeth. So how they opening it?
We
That's
should
the joke.
we should patent a design for a water bottle that disabled people can use. Just kidding. There's no way you can make a water bottle disabled people could use.
Jeez. What
Like,
kind of
what do you mean?
disability?
A
Yeah, what kind-
voice activated straw extending water bottle.
Oh, it'll happen in the future.
Water. And then just brings out this big old straw, and they can suck on that.
That technology exists, I'm sure.
Yeah, but we have to make it affordable.
Okay. Can't be like Big Pharma and just like keep
No.
this stuff big expensive.
Yep. Oh, people need this. Let's double the price of that straw.
Yeah. You know how many disabled people are going to need this? Let's triple it.
How much do you think catheters cost?
They're not that expensive.
Right away. You're just like, oh, yeah, they're cheap.
Mark's like,
Haven't you
"I've
ever
tried
seen
that."
the commercials?
I mean, I've seen
Get your
commercials for
catheter supplies.
diabetes.
I actually never had TV when I was a kid.
Shut up.
Like when I was really little, I had TV, and we had like 2 channels, and all I watched was Tom and Jerry and 9/11. I'm not kidding. I was watching Tom and Jerry when 9/11 happened, and so I also watched 9/11. But that's all I watched as a kid.
Speaking of Tom and Jerry, you should tell Mark about our Tom and Jerry experience that we had this week.
Yeah, it was pretty woke. We were at Pickle Barrel, and we were like watching TV, and I was like, "Hey Nate, look, Tom and Jerry come on." And basically, like Tom died and went to heaven, and he was like in a line of cats, right? And they were all so that the gatekeeper to heaven was like, naming off what each cat was in heaven for, like how they died. And he's like, oh Chester, you lost a fight with a pit bull, like whatever. And then like.
Why was that cat in heaven?
And then another cat comes up and he's like, "Oh, you didn't see that steamroller? Are you sure you didn't see that steamroller? All right, you can go," and he goes by. And then you hear something come up, but you don't see anything. And the camera pans down and there's just like a little bag on the ground and water's like dripping out of it. And he's like, "Huff, puff, and muff." He doesn't even say what happened, but those kittens were drowned in the river.
Yeah, and like the top of the bag opens, you see these poor little kitten heads pop out.
And I
you're
was like, "That's
nothing was even
super
said."
dark.
Yeah, but it obviously was alluding to that those 3 kittens died because they were tied inside of a bag and drowned in the river.
Nice. That's the way to get rid of them.
I say, how
I'm
did I
like,
not notice
oh
that stuff
my
when I was a kid?
gosh. Was this a common thing to happen when this came
That's
out?
how you got rid of cats back in the day.
That's how you get rid of cats today.
Yeah, why did times change? Technology didn't change. It
I don't
just
even
drowned.
waste the bag. I just throw them in the
I
river.
figure as long as the river's still there, you can throw kittens in it. You hear that, government?
Dude, that reminded
Ban
me.
rivers.
I asked Nathan the other day, or today maybe, or yesterday, if he had seen the video of that foreign chick throwing the puppies in the river. Did you see that? Yeah, she's totally in jail now. I saw the follow-up thing for it, but
I don't watch grudge porn.
this was nothing of the sort.
The Pain Olympics. It'd be
Yeah,
pretty
it was
painful.
Seriously, it was a 5-gallon bucket full of like puppies that were
Mhm.
still alive, like so new that they couldn't see it. And she was her friend was filming, and they were both laughing and having a great time by picking up puppies one at a time
Just
and
hucking
chucking
'em?
them into this this rapids river, just like.
I mean,
Just
just
chucking.
saying it makes me laugh, but I know that's like really messed up.
It is
and
so
stuff,
messed
but
up.
it sounds funny.
But like
Yeah.
real talk,
Oh yeah, if you're not watching the video or
Just
anything, you're
hucking
just talking
puppies
about
out
it, you're
there.
like, oh, he's puppy chucking. It's like pastime activity. But you watch the video and you're just like, I feel sick because these people are that's so messed up.
it's kind of like when you make jokes about like crashing your car into a building or something, like
Yeah.
stupid jokes like that, and then you see like the videos for 9/11, and you're like, actually, this isn't very funny.
This isn't very, yeah. Or, I mean, not to take it so seriously, but I mean, our country still has abortionism. So, I mean, we're upset about people chucking puppies into a river, but
But real talk, if those
Yeah.
puppies still couldn't see, was the river really there?
no.
Were
No.
they even really puppies yet?
It hadn't rendered yet.
Which one of them
It was
was
just a haptic
imagining
suit.
all the other ones?
Yeah.
As soon as they hit that water, it was just a haptic suit. So
Whose reality were the puppies even in?
that chick's reality, they weren't even real puppies.
Whose reality is that chicken?
Mine.
Na-
Mine.
What if Nathan's reality is the only actual reality and we are just...
What do you mean, what if? Listen, I'm the only one here who's sentient. Might as well call me Jesus.
Nope.
I'm super woke.
I'm the only one that's seen this video.
Of the puppy
Wait, does
chucking?
this video actually exist?
Yeah, I saw it.
But I did.
But Nathan
know.
hasn't, so
Yeah.
it doesn't exist.
Prove it. Pixar, GTFO.
All right, so we're gonna look up this video and throw up, and
And then I'm going home.
yeah, so we're done. We're
I'm
done
gonna
for
go
the
back
night.
to my box.
We woke.
It was fun. We're gonna have to have more conversations about this because there's a ton of like stuff I want to talk about with AI and how that's progressing
Take my
and
hat off, boy.
things like that. So
No.
You aren't man enough to wear that hat. Have you
Hopefully-
killed a man?
hopefully you guys made it through.
Several.
I didn't
This
lose
is
my legs in Vietnam to watch you take my hat and
Nalo
disrespect it.
signing off. Mark, do your thing.
Bye.
That's not it.
I'm a new man. Oh,
Frick! There's a boot in his snake.
we've got it.